Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video, and today I am here with my 500 subscriber Q&A. I am truly sorry that this took a while, but to, get out, but yeah, here I am with my 500 subscriber Q&A. I'm not really gonna waste your time, really. I want to get straight to the questions, but real quick before we do get started, I'm gonna say it yet again. Thank you guys a lot for 500 subscribers. It truly means a lot to me. We did reach the goal, not too long, a while ago, but hey, I still felt like I should probably open up by saying that, since this is kind of a way to celebrate 500 subscribers. But yeah, with that being said, I want to get straight to the question. So, this first question, this one comes from YouTube and from Jukesville. The question is, thoughts on Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney. So, my thoughts on Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, I think they're a great wide receiver duo, for whoever is going to be the Bears quarterback in 2021. Whether it's Justin Fields or Andy Dalton, whoever is going to be the quarterback, they are going to love Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney as long as they stay there. For now, Allen Robinson is on the Chicago Bears. Allen Robinson, first off, he is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. He has over 1,000 yards. He's been consistently putting up over 1,000 yards receiving with really bad quarterbacks. We should take that into account. So I really hope Justin Fields is good, because that can really show how good Allen Robinson is. And Darnell Mooney, I think he's a fantastic WR too. In my opinion, I think he has pretty high-end wide receiver 2 potential. I don't know about wide receiver 1, but he's still very good. He had a nice rookie season, and I do expect him to have around 800 to 900 yards in his sophomore season. So yeah, he had a pretty good year, and honestly, I think both of them are fantastic players. Alright, next question. This one comes from Everyday Sportsmania and from YouTube. His question is, my favorite show/movie, food, and my favorite game. So my favorite thing from all of those categories. So favorite show/movie, I know this is a generic answer, but it would have to be Avengers Endgame. I love that movie. I like superhero movies, and the Marvel and the DC movies, like a lot of people. And I know it's a generic answer, but I absolutely love that movie. When I saw it in theaters, it was one of the best days of my life. And then my favorite food, well, I don't really have a favorite food, since I like a lot of types of food, but I'll give you one type I like. This is more of a cuisine, but I do like Indian food a lot, since I'm Indian, so that would make a lot of sense. And then my favorite game, that's a tough one. I don't really know what my favorite game is, but I guess, I do like to play Minecraft with my friend, and I also do like to play online and all. I also do, 2K, in my opinion, it's passable. I just play My League and play now to when I'm bored. Those are some of my favorite games. But yeah, thank you for the question, and thanks for everyone who asked the question. Alright, next question. This one comes from HK the Sports Fan, and this question comes from YouTube, and his question is, what have I learned throughout my YouTube journey? Well, I guess one thing I have learned from my YouTube journey is that YouTube is a lot harder than it looks. Before I started this channel, I would see channels with 1,000 subscribers and think, hey, that's really not that big, that's pretty small. But now that I've started YouTube, I have realized how hard it is to really hit 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, that is obviously our new subscriber goal and all, make sure to subscribe. But, really, I've learned that YouTube is a lot harder than it looks, so that's something I really have learned. But yeah, honestly, I guess that's my answer to the question. That's one thing I have learned a lot from my YouTube journey. Alright, next question. This one comes from the Sports Fan Center, and this one also comes from YouTube, and the question is, what motivates me to do YouTube? And this is a pretty simple answer, I guess, and it's really just because I enjoy, doing YouTube, and it gives me something else to, really do. I can talk about sports, which is what I like. I love talking about sports, It's a very good outlet to, talk about sports, which is what I love. As I said before, I just love doing YouTube, There's a lot of good things about YouTube, and yeah, I'll admit, there are some things that, they aren't exactly, positives, but I at the end of the day, I just love YouTube. That is what really motivates me to do YouTube. Alright, next question. This one comes from Jukesville yet again, and from YouTube, and this is maybe my favorite question. This question is, why are the New England Patriots my favorite NFL team? So, this is gonna be I guess it's kind of an unusual story, and it might be a little bit long, so yeah, let's just get started with the story. So, funny enough, I'm not actually from the Northeast. I'm from Colorado. So, I mean, you might be thinking, so why didn't you choose the Denver Broncos? So, getting to the story of how I became a New England Patriots fan. So, when I first became interested in the NFL, and I was just like, hey, you know what? I want to become a diehard NFL fan. When I was kind of like choosing my team, I was just like, you know what? When I was younger, I thought it was cool to, you know, support a team, be unusual, I guess. So, and honestly, I mean, I guess I think it's something I've enjoyed, which is being unique, I guess. So, I wanted to be unique and support a team that wasn't the home team, and the home team obviously being the Denver Broncos. So, it came down to the Patriots and the Seahawks, and the reasoning for both teams, you know, being options is the New England Patriots. Well, Tom Brady, I really liked him a lot. I developed, I guess, like a love for him. Like, you know, I liked Tom Brady a lot, you know, when I was starting to become interested in the NFL. Not only that, but I mean, something about the Patriots just made me like them, and they were a hated team, so, I mean, I could be unique. And when I was younger, as I said before, I thought it was cool to you know, be unique, and I guess, you know, like hated things. And then for the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, they were a very popular team in the league at the time, since this was during the Legion of Boom days, you know? So, like, this was, like, at the height of their power and all, like, before the whole Super Bowl 49, Malcolm Butler, like, destroys their hopes and all, you know. The Seahawks were a very popular team, but something about the Patriots just made me like them. And I mean, Tom Brady was a massive reason why. He is my favorite player. I was just like, hey, Tom Brady's my favorite player. So, and something about the Patriots is just making me like them. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and support the Patriots, and eventually, I mean, I just grew a connection with them to the point where it's kind of unbreakable. And ever since then, I've been a Patriots fan for life, so if that makes sense, I mean, it's mainly just because of something about the Patriots that just made me like them, and Tom Brady. And I guess, to add on to the story, this might be a little bit more confusing, so I do want to say, sorry if this story is getting kind of confusing, but it's something funny. So after I decided the Patriots were my favorite team, at the time, I was just like, hey, you know what, I still kind of like the Seahawks. They'll be my second favorite team, since I did like the Legion of Boom at the time. And what's funny about it now is that the Seahawks, I really do not like them. No offense to any of my Seahawks fans watching this, but yeah, that's basically how I became a Patriots fan. I do want to say sorry if that story was kind of confusing, but I guess to simplify it, something about them made me like them, Tom Brady, and I wanted to be unique, so yeah. Anyways, next question, and this one was asked, well, it was answered already, but I'll go over it, and it was asked by Everyday Sports Mania from YouTube, and the question was favorite snack/movie. Again, I don't really have one, since I like a lot of types of foods. Alright, this isn't a question, but Steven Olson and Braden Fry, they asked for shoutouts, so I'm gonna shout them out. Shout out to you guys, thank you guys for supporting the channel, and shout out to everyone who's helped support this channel. But yeah, next question, this one comes from Breezy, and this one comes from YouTube. Who is my favorite MLB team? This is going to be a very disappointing answer. I'm sorry that it's disappointing, but I don't really have a favorite MLB team, and I don't really keep up with the MLB or watch the MLB. I have tried getting into it. It's just not my sport. There are a lot of reasons why, but hey, I could be an MLB fan one day, you know? You never know what could happen, but yeah, I do not have a favorite MLB team. Anyways, next question, where will Asante Samuel Jr. go? This one is asked by Caden Summers from YouTube. Unfortunately, this answer will not be as good as it would have been before the draft, but Asante Samuel Jr., he went to the Chargers, I believe, in the second round, and I guess to make up for it, I'll give some thoughts on him. I think he's pretty good. I mean, the guy, he has some concerns when it comes to his size and all, but I think he can be a very good player. I mean, I think the Chargers coach, I think he can get the most out of him, considering the fact that he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams this past season, and, well, in the 2020 season, and the Rams were the best defense statistically in 2020. So I think he's a pretty good player, and he went in the range where I thought he would go, late first to second round. If you went past the second round, I would be kind of surprised. And same if you went, like a little bit like earlier in the first round. Anyways, next question. Thoughts on Kell and Mon? This one comes from Jukesville. Yet again, this one also comes from YouTube. So my thoughts on Cal Monda is I think he's actually a really solid quarterback, you know. I think he does need some time, so I think the Vikings were a very good place. They got a lot of good pieces there. They added Christian Darrisaw in the draft, so a much improved offensive line. Along with that, they got Irv Smith Jr., they got Dalvin Cook, of course, and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. So they got a really decent team around Kell and Mon, and I think he can be a good successor to Kirk Cousins when Minnesota decides to move on from Kirk. And honestly, I think he was a pretty solid quarterback and a pretty solid option for any team that wanted to take a quarterback, after the top 5 quarterbacks were gone. The top 5 being Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and God, I can't remember. Yeah, Trey Lance. That's his name. Sorry about that. Anyways, next question. This one comes from Caden Summers and from YouTube. The question is, who do I think will be the biggest bust in the 2021 NFL draft? So, I don't really want to say someone's going to be a bust for sure, but I guess going over some players, who I do believe can be bust. I have a feeling that, what's his name? Jason Owe and Gregory Rousseau, I think they could be busts if they can't, improve their technique, because they rely a little too much on their athleticism, and in the NFL, you can't rely on your athleticism as much as you can in college. So I think they could definitely be busts. Jamar Chase, I have a feeling Trevor Lawrence might not, this might be a little bit of a hot take. Do not spam the dislike button, but I do have a feeling Trevor Lawrence might be a little worse than we thought he would be. But yeah, those are some players who Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he will be a bust, but Gregory Rousseau and Jason Owe are some players off the top of my head who I do believe could be busts. Anyways, next question. This one comes from Call Me Steph and from YouTube. Question is my top 5 NBA players of all time and my criteria. So my criteria, it's kind of like a mix of everything. It's mainly like rings, skills, longevity, accolades, and, I guess your legacy and, some of your other accomplishments and all of that stuff. It's kind of like a mix of everything. I try to, balance it out. And so my top 5 players of all time would be number 1, Michael Jordan, number 2, LeBron James, so very common top 2, and not very common top 3, with my number 3 being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 4, 4 through 6 or 7, this is a very interchangeable between Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, and Bill Russell. Plus, you could even put Tim Duncan in the mix, but number 4, I got Larry Bird, and number 5, I got Magic Johnson. 4 through 7, as I said before, it's very interchangeable, but that is my personal top 5. You guys can always drop your top 5 NBA players of all time in the comment section below if you want to, but alright. Next question, this one comes from FR, and this one actually comes from Twitter, as we are now going to the Twitter questions. This question is, how did I get into sports and what made me want to do YouTube? This is also a question I love. So yeah, how I got into sports was mainly because of my dad. My dad was a big sports fan, and eventually he kind of got me into football and basketball. And I do want to say I do kind of follow the NHL. I'm still trying to get into it, and he's not really much of an NHL fan. But yeah, it was mainly my dad, plus LeBron James and Tom Brady. They also helped me get into football and basketball. So yeah, it's mainly my dad and LeBron James and Tom Brady. I know that's a generic answer for the athletes, but whatever. And then for why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, well, when I was younger, and still even to this day, I loved watching YouTube, and eventually got to a point where I was kind of mulling over the idea of starting a channel, and eventually I just started I was able to start a channel. And the reason why is because it just looked fun, and I thought it would be cool to, do it just do YouTube, personally, and, have my own channel. But yeah, that's why how I got into sports, and why I wanted to start a YouTube channel. Next one, this one comes from Pool Fan and from Twitter. This isn't really a question, but Pool Fan says, Nav is good. No, Nav is not good. He is really bad. Alright, next question. Has at I am Rage Dog watched a non-Saints football game? This one comes from 8 the Goat 24 and from Twitter. I don't really know. I'm not at I am Rage Dog, so I don't really know his life. Alright, next question. Why has barely anyone noticed how good Damian Harris is? This one also comes from 8 the Goat 24 and from Twitter. Well, I don't really know. Maybe it's just the fact that his numbers, weren't crazy flashy. He's not the biggest name. Not only that, but the Patriots this past season were not extremely successful. But Damian Harris, in my opinion, is very underrated, and I expect some big things from him next year, and I think he could have a breakout season. So, yeah, Damian Harris 1K yard season, rushing yard season. That, be ready, NFL. That could definitely be coming out soon. Alright. Next question, this one comes from John and from Twitter. His question is, my favorite type of cheese. I'd probably have to go with mozzarella or Swiss. Next question. This one comes from Alex and from Twitter. Why is Nicole Jokich MVP? I do agree Nicole Jokich is MVP, and I am being serious there, even though I was kind of like sounding like I was joking in when the way I was speaking. But I guess going over why I think Nicole Jokich is MVP. I mean, he fits my criteria. I mean, he had very good stats. He's one of the best players in the NBA. Not only that, but he led his team to a top 3 seed in a very tough Western Conference. Not only that, but the Nuggets were ravaged by injuries, and that's a big reason why I have him over as MVP. And as for guys like Embiid and Curry, like why I'd put him over Embiid and Curry, like Embiid, I think I think he's pretty understandable why you might put him over Jokic, but Jokic played in all the game. I'm pretty sure every single game throughout the NBA season, so that's a big reason why. And Joel Embiid did miss some time. As for Stephen Curry, well, I mean, he's been flat out amazing. He fits all my criteria except for one thing, and that is he didn't lead his team to a top 3 to 4 seed. And I know it's no easy thing, except if you're the MVP, I do believe you should be it. I think you should have at least a top 3 to 4 seed to show for it. And as I went over this in my NBA like awards pick video, so this I did do a full breakdown. I guess did do a full breakdown on this, but I mean, Stephen Curry, he's the most valuable player in the league to his team, but not the MVP, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's why I have Nicole Jokich as the MVP. I might be a little bit biased since I am a Denver Nuggets fan, though. Anyways, next question. This one comes from Jameson Crowder's season and from Twitter. The question is, what is the reason I do not like the Patriots? I mean, of course I love the New England Patriots, but I guess the reason why I don't like them is because, well, I guess they're just not the flashiest and most fun, like, prime time, you can't miss TV. I guess that's one reason why. I mean, of course those teams can be good, but hey, I mean, they aren't exactly like that. I'll be honest, they aren't really like the Chiefs or Buccaneers or anything like that when it comes to, like, can't miss, like, very fun, like, action-y TV. Alright, next question. This one comes from Katie to the NBA Finals and from Twitter yet again. Why are both of my favorite players considered or thought of by some as the GOAT? So he's basically asking why Tom Brady and LeBron James are some of my favorite players. Well, it's pretty simple. I went over this before, but they just helped me get into sports, and I mean, they're great players, so that's why they are 2 of my favorite players. Next question, this one comes from Clapped Arc and from Twitter. The question is, my favorite Denver Nugget and why? I know this is a generic answer, but it would have to be Nikola Jokic, and the reasoning is because Nikola Jokic is the best player on the team, obviously, and Nikola Jokic, I mean, he's provided Denver he's obviously their franchise player. I mean, it's very nice, and I think there's a very good chance that we can win a ring with him. And even if we just get one championship with him, I'd be very satisfied because, unfortunately, us Denver Nuggets fans don't have a championship to really celebrate, as unfortunately, we have not even made the finals yet in our franchise's history. But hey, I do believe Nikola Jokic can definitely lead us to at least one finals appearance and definitely at least one championship. But yeah, that is why Nikola Jokic is my favorite player on the Denver Nuggets. But I do like guys like Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Monte Morris, Paul Millsap, all those guys. Alright, next question. This one comes from Twitter, and this one question comes from Snow. Sorry about that. This question is, who had the better draft, Dolphins or Patriots? Please be unbiased. That's what he asked. That I do answer this question, unbiased, since I am a Patriots fan. And I think both teams had very good drafts. I went over this in my draft grades video, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the Dolphins, and the reason why is because, I mean, the Dolphins had a lot of picks, and they just got so much talent and really improved their team a lot through the draft. They got Jalen Waddle as a pass catcher, they improved the offensive line, and they improved the defense by getting, I believe, they got Javon Holland, I believe, and they also got Jalen Phillips. So honestly, it was just a really good draft for the Dolphins. The Patriots also had a good draft, but I give the slight edge to the Miami Dolphins. Next question. This one comes from Andy and from Twitter. My favorite NBA player. I mean, it would have to be either Nikola Jokic or LeBron James. I love both of them. So yeah, it'd have to be Nikola Jokic or LeBron James as my favorite NBA player. Next question, this one comes from Arnob Care and from Twitter. The question is, and the MLB or the MLS? Alright, I don't really, no offense to any of the fans of the sport, but obviously this is kind of, I guess, like a joke or like which one I'd rather take. And I guess the MLB, since I don't really care about soccer. No offense to any of my soccer fans or football fans. I don't really care about it. I mean, I don't really follow the sport really, so I guess I'd go with the MLB, since it's also more popular here in the United States. Next question, this one comes from Bipolar Tacos and from Twitter, Mac Jones or Cam Newton. I guess for this season, I might prefer Cam Newton since we did re-sign him to a 1-year deal. And I mean, I think we should give Mac Jones a little bit of time since, he's obviously a rookie. And Josh McDaniels' offensive system, it's really complicated. So I do think Mac Jones might need a little bit of time. But if Mac Jones is godly in practice and training camp and all, and Cam Newton is just playing really poorly and all, then I'd probably go Mac Jones. But for now, I'd go Cam Newton. But long term, it's 100% Mac Jones, assuming he's not a bust. Then the final question, this one comes from Moss and from Twitter. Again, the question is Cam McGrone or Ray Lewis? Easily Cam McGrone. I mean, you didn't really have to ask. It's really easily Cam McGrone. Okay, I'm kidding. Of course, it's Ray Lewis, alright? But yeah, thank you guys a lot for watching this video. That unfortunately will wrap up today's video. But hey, with that being said, thank you guys a lot for 500 subscribers yet again. I know we reached it a while ago, but still, I gotta thank you guys a lot. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed us. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content on here so you do not miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I will finally do a face reveal. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.